Welcome to Crafting a Career in the Arts, The Inspirations. Have you ever wondered what inspired some of Edmonton's biggest art events and celebrations? In this series, we delve into the minds of the people behind some of Edmonton's largest and most iconic festivals and spaces for the arts to find out what inspired not only the event, but those who run them. Join us as we look into the history of the art scene and speak with those who help make the arts possible in Edmonton about who they hope to inspire. In 1995, the idea of having painters painting live in the streets of Edmonton made its way to the owners and staff of the Paint Spot. Beginning with just 35 artists, the Whyte Avenue Art Walk has grown to over 400 annually, spanning several blocks and lasting 3 days each summer. While the Art Walk has expanded over time, its focus has always remained true to its core, the artwork. In this episode, we will find out all about the origins of the Whyte Avenue Art Walk from the person who grew it to what it is today.
I'm Kim Fjordbotten. I'm an artist, an art educator. I have an art school called Atelier. I run the Paint Spot, and we all run the Whyte Avenue Art Walk. We're an award-winning little art materials store located in Old Strathcona. We're women-owned and artist-run, and we're about beautiful materials to inspire your creativity. And we say from palette to gallery, we help artists. The inspiration behind the Paint Spot getting started was I'm a second-generation owner, so it was David and Cecile Bradley that started the store. And they started it while she was still a BFA student going to the University of Alberta. And shopping for art supplies locally was really craft or student quality. There wasn't a lot of artist quality materials. So she sourced Schminke from Germany, Da Vinci brush from Germany, and we were the first company in Canada to stock gold and acrylics. So really a pioneer for good materials coming to Edmonton. And I went to the University of Alberta as well, and when I graduated, I went to work for them, and I loved the company so much that 20 years ago, I bought it. It's a common story how the Whyte Avenue Art Walk got started. We're in the Historic District in Old Strathcona, and a member of the Historic Society said, oh, certainly we can come up with an idea that animates the streets and brings the people down and brings media attention. And his idea was that artists were painting and drawing live outside, just like you would see in the left bank of Paris or in Europe. And of course, the Paint Spot being on Old Strathcona and on Whyte Avenue, we were asked to find artists. So that was the start of the story. And then I think my inspiration for being so involved is I got enamored with that idea of the left bank of Paris, where the intelligentsia and the artists and the business community and the patrons are all mixing together. And I also, as a student, realized there's not a lot of opportunity for artists to exhibit and sell work when you just get out of school. You can't jump into a gallery right away. And your art doesn't sell if it's hiding under the bed or in a closet somewhere. You got to get out and show people. And there wasn't a lot of opportunities. This was back in 1995, so Google wasn't even invented yet. So there was no social media, there was no way to sell your work. So being out on the sidewalk showing, hey, this is what I do, was about the best you could do. The Art Walk has certainly evolved over time. The first year we started, there was 35 people drawing and painting outside. The second year we doubled it. By the third year we were over 100, and I think year 8 we hit our prime. We were at 450 artists. So we fill a 3-kilometer space on the avenue from 100th Street to 108th Street. We spill over into street closures and parks. It's huge.
Now Kim shares how she began in the arts. As she recounts her journey, we'll discover how the Whyte Avenue Art Walk grew from being just an event to a celebration of creativity and community.
So I started being interested in art early on. Luckily, my mother was wanting to invest in her children, and she's like, boy, you're so clumsy in sports. And I'm like, I don't want to do ballet. I don't want to do skating. She's like, you have to do something. So put me in an art class, and I loved it. I just loved it. But still, going through school, I thought, oh, when I graduate, I'd probably be a dental hygienist or go into dentistry. So I went to the U of A to see what the dentistry department looked like. And on orientation day, you could go somewhere else. And I chose the fine art department. my goodness, you walk into that place with the paint on the walls and paint on the chairs and the walk-in kilns and the etching baths, and I didn't even know what lithography was, and I'm like, whoa, this is intimidating. And then that's what I wanted to do. So that's the root of how I became an artist. Wow, me as an artist, I often get asked, how's your art going, or what's your art doing? And then I go like, have you seen my store? Like, that's really where all of my creativity has been put. And I'm not begrudging it, because I get to work with all these materials. I'm in the perfect position to talk to manufacturers about what they're making for materials and talk about artists about how they're using materials. I'm always doing source samples or another color chart or filling up a sketchbook to show how the paper will work. So my art is everywhere in the store, but it's like art done by samples. It's not really my voice as an artist. And I have to say, when you're so involved in the arts, you can become saturated with everybody's version of art, that I think finding my own voice, I'm finally asking myself, who am I and what do I want to paint? So I think that's coming around now that I'm retired from the Art Walk, and it's off on its own legs with Activate Arts Alberta is now running the Art Walk. So it's been really nice to untie the apron strings and pass that on so that I can focus on my own art. The White Avenue Art Walk is inspiring in many different ways. First of all, you get to see art being made as well as seeing the finished work. So that inspires people to be curious about the materials, and they see how things are done, and maybe it inspires you to start art, and then you become an Art Walk artist. Maybe you try a bit of art and you realize, oh, this art is unique, it's hard, it's difficult, and you become a patron, an educated patron for the arts. So I think that's the most important thing, is that meeting between people who are looking at art, people who are making art, people that are buying art. It's that wonderful connection. I think that's where the inspiration really comes. I think I'm inspired every year to help that next person just starting out. It's always magical. And keep in mind, we've been doing it so long, we've already passed a generation of artists. So there's people that are doing Art Walk today that weren't even born when we started. So to see the kids of artists come through and now be artists, I think every year it's a new person you get to welcome into this community. So I think whether you're new to the city or new to art, the Art Walk's a great place to just find your feet. So I find that's inspiring every year to keep doing it. So the Art Walk inspires a lot of people to join in and give support or volunteer. So whether it's, I say most of our volunteers are like family members that have to act as roadies to help set up the tent or haul the art, or maybe they come out. I mean, volunteering for the Art Walk is so easy. You basically get a bag and a clipboard and you get to go walk up and down the avenue and sit down and watch an artist's booth while they run away for a coffee or something. So that's your big job, is just being a little bit of theft prevention and moving on to the next booth to watch. And so it's a great day. You get to walk your little route, see all the art, meet the artists. I always encourage people, if they're curious and they want to be doing the Art Walk or be an artist, come volunteer this year. It's the best training ground. And then next year you'll know how to price your work and what kind of display you want, and maybe where on the avenue you want to be. So volunteering is really rewarding. We have painted aprons that we do for our volunteers. There's always good food. And it's a really short shift. You do 4 hours or 8 hours and you've been out to do it. Businesses get involved. I mean, they help. Some of them do storefront. They do window decorations. They run 2-for-1 pizzas. You get 2-for-1 pizza if you prove that you bought something at the Art Walk. We also had an optometrist who ran ads saying, get glasses so you'll look cool out there, but also so you can see what you're buying. It's kind of fun. So you can throw your creativity around there. So lots of ways you can connect with Art Walk.
From professional development to giving a voice to artists who are just starting out, the Art Walk fosters growth and empowerment for its artists. As an artist and an organizer, Kim was able to make the objective of the art as the foremost focus of the event her personal mission, making a space that truly celebrates art for its participants and patrons alike. This central goal was something she was able to pass on to Activate Arts Alberta when she handed the festival's production over to them.
So I'm really lucky that I had the paint spot as a solid business to work from. It allowed me to have my financial, I was taken care of. I had the resources of the store and all of my staff to help me build the event. And the motivation, even though it was a lot of work, was because it was this unprecedented win-win-win in my life. Like, you always want people to win, but to have 4 wins in one event, that the community won, because we brought 40 to 50,000 people down to the Avenue. Economic spin-off is like $2.7 million that help the business community, all because there's an activity in the street that people want to come see. It helps the artist. You know, they can't sell work if it's not being shown. It also gives them all the professional development that they need to go and make art walks anywhere. So that was important. For the paint spot, it was important that our customers were successful. It was also a sense of job satisfaction that my employees that were just working in retail could help build a big event and help get experience doing that. And then it was a big win for Edmonton that they got to have the claim of the biggest art walk and the first art walk. And yeah, every year I just like, it's going to be another quadruple win in spite of Mother Nature. But I'm also an artist, and I think that puts me in a good position to always do right by the festival and always right by the artists that we serve. Because it certainly is easy to get wrapped up in building a big festival. You know, you want to invite the cotton candy maker, and you want to have all the children's pavilions, and you want to have the bandstand with the music, and it becomes a great event. But then people come out to buy a t-shirt and cotton candy and look at the art, and then they think they've done an art walk. And as an artist, I'm only going to be out there. I pay to be out there, and I'm only going to keep coming back if I actually sell work. So always staying focused on what are the challenges for artists, how can we make them better, whether it's, you know, there's a lot of professional development, how to set up your website, how to run social media, how to price your work, how to frame your work, how to set up your tent so it doesn't blow over in the rain and the wind. I mean, all of these things along the way, I've done it. So I can help people do it, and we have ongoing training. So again, somebody's new to the Art Walk, boy, they get everything of our support as much as possible. So the White Avenue Art Walk has been a great training ground for really big events. So now nothing seems too big to try. So I always say we help artists from palette to gallery. So really from knowing about your materials right through to having your first gallery show. We like to be a participant in that. So ongoing education, which again, it's twofold. It's that conversation between a person just starting, come take a class, and a person that's more experienced teaching what they know. And it's an income for the artist as well. So I love that conversation with people getting started and passing on that knowledge. So we have gallery shows, we have contests, we have video training, Zoom meetings. There's always something going on. We're also involved in the aerosol and street art community. So doing more and more murals. We do have tip sheets, and we lecture a lot on how to do a mural. And it's nice to see that Old Strathcona now has 80 murals and a walking tour you can find on the Old Strathcona District White website. The Art Walk was an amazing training ground for how to invite a lot of people in to do a big event. Like, I could never do the Art Walk by myself. I just have a lot of people in the community that help us do it. And those artists, because they've been trained at the Art Walk, they're now able to maybe quit their day job and be a full-time artist. So our communication and our collaboration is still more that we offer, you know, atelier studios. We have workshops they can teach at. We offer them a gallery space in our store. There's online classes they can do. So there's multiple ways they can make an income, and there's multiple ways that we do outreach as far as helping people get started.
Next, Kim reflects on the impact the White Avenue Art Walk has had on Edmonton's art scene, highlighting some of her favorite moments and some of the challenges she faced in creating a dedicated space for visual arts.
Yeah, so Art Walk was basically, how can we bring people to Old Strathcona? We should put artists on the street like in the left bank of Paris, and then we phoned a bunch of friends. And that's what it became. But what became really quickly is that it was really about giving this opportunity to artists. I think about year 4, when I was out there painting, and again, I'm an artist, so I'm looking around trying to sell a $300 or $400 painting. And at that time, we were allowing people who did artisan and functional works to come out. So there was a hemp jewelry artist, and there was a person doing baby clothes, and somebody else doing little candles and paintings on candles. And I'm like, how can I sell my art when it's like this craft fair almost? So the next year, and it's just my own tenacity that says some space has to be here for the visual artist. We can't always just be the background to the music or the background to the restaurant. We need an event where we're first and foremost. And to a lot of people's frustration, I said, no craft, which was really hard. We got a lot of pushback and a lot of conversations about what's art and what's craft. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. If it's functional, it's not part of our event. which was actually a really strong and smart thing to do, because what happened 2 years after that? Artisan markets sprung up everywhere. So because we said no, I think it let other people go do what they wanted to do, and we built very different events, which also made our events stronger because we attracted the kind of people that wanted to come out and buy original artwork from artists and have that conversation. So I realized it was really important to make a space for art. Like, can't there be a space for artists to just be in the forefront, not in the background, not something that you see while you're drinking cocktails or on the sideline of a big music festival, but really what you're there to see. So our marketing took off that way, as come down and see art that you want to buy for your office and your home, but also in stopping all the craft and the functional art. I mean, I love it, it's still art. But it did allow, and it kind of inspired other people to start the artisan markets, and it grew into that direction. So because we said no and got very focused on what we wanted to do, it allowed other people to go off and be focused in what they wanted to do. And then we have that diversity, and both events got to be strong. So now that we have Artwalks everywhere, how do you keep having the public come out to them? I think that's a new challenge, but I am inspired so much that we were the first, for the longest time, the biggest. I think maybe Toronto has a big curated event that's larger, but as far as an impromptu, unjuried event with the low barrier to come out and join, I think Edmonton's White Avenue Art Walk is still the biggest. So there's always things we could improve. The White Avenue Art Walk and Artwalks are kind of ubiquitous. Everybody knows what they are. So I secretly wish that we could just have approved spaces available for approved artists to just set up whenever they wanted without all the strappings and difficulties of the festival. So I don't think that's going to happen, but it'd be nice if it could just be like, here's a space for art, set up and make art. It'd be lovely. I also think there's a gap missing between the free-for-alls that are Art Walk, because White Avenue Art Walk is unjuried. You just have to pay and you can be out there. Maybe something more curated, maybe something indoors, that would be nice, out of the weather, but still having it open and easy entry and no barriers. You don't have to write big CVs and stuff to just be able to show your art. So I think there's lots of things we can do, but the White Avenue Art Walk is huge. I mean, I don't think it needs to be bigger than 300 or 400 people on the avenue. We did a map one time that mapped out, 100th Street to 108th Street. When you put it over West Edmonton Mall, is actually bigger than their parking lot. So we take up a space bigger than West Edmonton Mall. So how much bigger does it need to be? Oh, I don't think it needs to be much bigger. It's everything you can do to see it in 3 days. There are so many great stories from the Art Walk. I mean, weather, interactions with public, there's just some amazing things. I think the second year I was on the street participating as an artist, it was a slow Saturday morning and the rain was coming in. It was just drizzling ever so slightly, so you weren't really getting wet, but it was moist out. And my painting, my canvas that I had set up was staying perfectly wet. So I was lost in the moving paint around and not really paying attention and stepping back and stepping forward, and then step back into a wall of people watching me paint with their umbrellas and their coffee. And it's like, wow, this is amazing. And I sold that painting in part because they also had a story to go home with. It wasn't just, I'm buying a piece of art I like, I'm buying a piece of art with a story. So I thought that was great. I have another great story. We could have many great stories. So oftentimes artists have a juggle between whether they should do prints or only sell originals. And artists do sell prints because that's in everybody's budget. You can still get paid well for your art. So one artist was selling prints and selling prints and selling prints. And then one art walk he set up, and first thing in the morning, a young couple came in and said, we want that piece. We're gonna buy that piece. He's like, why? What inspired you? He's like, well, we met, we fell in love, we're getting married, and we moved our stuff together. We realized that we both bought the same print from you. So now we want the real one. So I thought that was lovely to see an artist go from selling prints to selling originals, because two people found each other. It is the stories of the Art Walk. It is the people that you meet over the years, and you get to see where they were. So, Giselle Denis one where she's so shy, not thinking her art's good enough to show on the street, and next thing you know, she's a professional artist exhibiting around the world and painting live in front of lots of people. Or you work with some artists this time and they go off and start their own art walk. I had a coworker go back home to Siberia and start a little art walk in her community. So it's just lovely stories like that where they do have legs. Now we have an art walk that's running out of Bonnie Doon Mall next weekend. A lot of the artists that were trained, they invested in their grid walls, they invested in their tents, they know how to set up their art, they know how to talk about their art, and now they're being juried and moved indoors. So I think that art walk just keeps having a life of its own beyond me is really cool. I think one of the stories early on, and again, it was a rainy art walk. It was crazy. Lots of stories over rainy art walks. But the business I was in front of decided to come out. It's like, don't be out in the rain, come in and paint inside. So I moved inside and I'm painting away. And a mother and daughter come in and the daughter's lingering. Her mom's shopping in the store, but her daughter's lingering and looking. And we're having a conversation and I thought it was really good. She's really excited, really asking great questions. And then her mom's like, oh, don't pay any attention to that, dear. That's a starving artist. There's no money in art. And I'm like, whoa, excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. Like, I'm Kim. I own the paint store right next door. There's lots of things you could do in art to make a living. And if she has an interest, like, invest in her, because who knows where her creativity is going to come from. Problem solving, design, communications, there's so much that the world needs artists. And I felt that day, I helped a little girl, be seen as like what she was interested in was valuable. So little things like that along the avenue are really, they're rewarding. So you meet people like that, you can change things for people. You can have a life as an artist. You just have to have many modes of income. And I help wherever I can. So if having a show at the Art Walk is where you start, you have a gallery show, you sell a few more pieces, you teach a few classes, you learn how to print and license your work, you learn how to take on a mural project. All of a sudden you've cobbled together a very nice income for the year, doing what you love in an industry that you love, surrounded by people that are like-minded. And I think that's your best place in this world. You know, it's really easy to be humbled by big events of the Art Walk because they don't happen just because one person does it. I mean, we have 450 venues of artists that show up and bring all their stuff. And sure, there's logistics and it's difficult. And you can get really bogged down with all the stuff you have to do. I can remember one Art Walk, I'm just like, oh no, this and this and this and this. And my mom took me by my shoulders and she turned me around and said, look what you did. Like, just look at what you did. I'm like, I didn't do that. I didn't set up that tent. I didn't close that street down, but I did. It's all on paper. But those kind of things, when you're in it, can feel overwhelming. But it was worth it in the end. That an empty street, a forgotten lane, could be transformed into a beautiful space full of color and creativity and people's passion out there for other people to experience. It's definitely worth it. It's definitely sparked something in me that says, you know, you can't do everything, but you can do one thing.
Kim's journey in the arts has been underscored by her passion for the presentation of art and for the community of artists and patrons that bring the Whyte Avenue Art Walk to life. Kim's vision and dedication has spread throughout the art scene, inspiring not just artists, but also promoters. In the next episode, we will hear from the promoter of Edmonton's biggest indoor art walk and find out how the art scene continues to evolve.